Tante, I'm Maskwacis. Welcome to APTN National News. Thank you for joining us. A First Nation in Saskatchewan was on high alert for a few hours this morning, though RCMP weren't saying much. Saskatchewan RCMP issued a statement saying there was an increased police presence on the George Gordon First Nation north of Regina for an ongoing investigation and that an update would be provided as soon as possible. However, on the community's Facebook page, a handful of warnings were issued about a possible active shooter. Just after 11 a.m. Central, a post said a person of interest was found and that RCMP continued to investigate. Right now, no new updates have been issued from the RCMP. The RCMP in Alberta is asking for the public's help in finding a man believed to be connected to a recent homicide in Maskwacis, just south of Edmonton. Last Wednesday at around 2:30 p.m., RCMP were called to a home in the Louisville First Nation for a firearms complaint. When they arrived, they found the body of 31-year-old Chance twins from Ermineskin First Nation. An autopsy done on August 15th determined the death is a homicide. RCMP are now looking for 20-year-old Ashton Deschamps, who has been charged with second-degree murder. Deschamps is 5'2", 106 pounds, with brown eyes and black hair. Police say he may have recently shaved his head. Deschamps is known to travel between Maskwacis, Edmonton, and North Battleford, Saskatchewan. Anyone who knows where Deschamps is, you are asked to contact RCMP or Crime Stoppers. The RCMP is also investigating a recent death on the Driftpile First Nation, located about 320 kilometers northwest of Edmonton. Last Friday evening, RCMP responded to a weapons complaint in Driftpile. When they arrived, they found 29-year-old Brandon Lee Campo deceased. An autopsy happened on Monday and police deemed the death a homicide. 32-year-old Blake Francis Giroux from Edmonton was arrested and now faces one charge of manslaughter. Giroux was remanded into custody and will make his first court appearance on August 25th. A 13-year-old boy has died and a 17-year-old has been arrested over the weekend in a First Nation in northern Manitoba. According to RCMP, last Saturday afternoon, Mounties answered a call to a home in Pimicikamak Cree Nation where a 13-year-old boy had been shot. He was taken to the nursing station and later pronounced deceased. A 17-year-old who was at the home at the time of the shooting was arrested and charged with manslaughter. RCMP says the investigation continues this week and there are no additional suspects. In a statement, Pimicikamak Cree Nation Chief David Monias said, "Our community is deeply saddened by this loss. We are placing our trust in the police to conduct a thorough investigation and provide answers. Out of respect for the family and loved ones, we must allow them the space to grieve during this difficult time." Chief Monias is asking for privacy for the families involved. The RCMP in British Columbia is trying to explain the context of an incident in Port Alberni after a video was posted over the weekend showing an officer beating a suspect during an arrest. The video was viewed and shared hundreds of thousands of times on social media, and a warning, the images in this video are disturbing.
Hey, we see you!
The video shows two RCMP officers attempting to arrest a 33-year-old man in an alley on Sunday. One Mountie can be seen striking the man with his knee, elbow, and fist multiple times. Residents can be heard yelling at the officer to stop and control his anger. In a statement to APTN News, Inspector Kim Bruce defends the officer's actions and provided context, saying, "Last Sunday, RCMP were called to a local business to remove the man who was unwanted. When RCMP arrived on scene, they learned the man may have breached a release order. He ran down an alleyway and the RCMP chased him." In a statement, they added, "It is alleged that the suspect then assaulted the police officer who had caught up to him, and a physical struggle ended up on the ground with the suspect keeping his hands underneath his body. During the suspect's arrest, police observed a sharp object in the suspect's hands, and he was not complying with his arrest. Police had to use force to gain compliance and prevent further injuries." The RCMP did not say if any injuries were sustained from the arrest, And in the video, the officer can be seen taking an unknown item from the suspect and throwing it away before getting up. Inspector Bruce added, "The video does not show the much needed context prior to the arrest. The criminal code provides us with the authority to use force, and it is not something we take lightly." The man was arrested and awaits his next court appearance. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has secured his return to Parliament, winning the federal by-election in Alberta riding at Battle River Crowfoot. Speaking to supporters after the win, Poilievre promised to keep fighting for the people of the riding and across the country.
This incredible region and its amazing people have suffered terribly over the last 10 years. I've seen the main streets that have been hollowed out and the trades workers who are underemployed because there is just not the work, as the federal government has attacked the oil and gas sector and favored foreign producers. This is the truth here in Battle River Crowfoot and in many communities across this country. Over the last 10 years, Liberal policies have sent crime, immigration, housing costs, inflation spiraling out of control.
Poilievre was widely expected to win in the riding, which is considered one of the safest Conservative seats in the country. With the victory, the Conservative leader will be back in the House of Commons in time for the fall season. The chiefs of 8 First Nations with the Southern Chiefs Organization are calling for an emergency summit to hold a non-confidence vote against their Grand Chief. In a letter to SCO, Grand Chief Jerry Daniels dated August 18th, the 8 chiefs claimed Daniels acted outside his scope of authority when he signed a memorandum of understanding with Manitoba Métis Federation President David Chartrand last week. The chiefs who signed the letter said they had no knowledge of the MOU, nor were they provided with documents before or after it was signed. The MOU says the SCO will work with the MMF over 5 years on an economic development strategy. SCO represents 32 First Nations in Manitoba. A letter from the Southern Chiefs Organization Chiefs Executive Committee to the SERDC chiefs is inviting them in the coming days to sit down and discuss the MOU. The letter says it represents a way to move forward together. The letter says in part that Indigenous peoples must present a united and strategic front to the federal and provincial governments who have long sought to dismantle our unity to control the lands and resources. Police in Ontario have seized almost $400,000 in opioids they say were destined for First Nations in Northern Ontario. Members of the Anishinaabe Aski Police Service, Thunder Bay Police, and the OPP executed a search warrant at a home in Thunder Bay last Thursday. They seized $380,000 worth of opioids, including Oxycontin and hydromorphone, and $55,000 in cash. A 67-year-old man was arrested and charged with 2 counts of possession of illegal drugs for the purpose of trafficking. Police say the drugs were being sent to the Arrowland First Nation. The man's name has not been released by police until he is formally charged. He makes his first court appearance on November 13th. A new documentary is shining a spotlight on the very real issue of human trafficking in Alberta. That story when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. One of the objectives of the Native Counselling Services of Alberta is to produce videos designed to help Indigenous youth and adults. And their latest documentary, called Into the Light, reveals that human trafficking is real in Alberta. APTN's Chris Stewart has the story.
When people say human trafficking, the first thing they think of is people being brought in from other countries, and it's like, no. It's in the high schools here. It's in the group homes here. It's in your backyard.
Bear Paw Media and Education is an arm of the Native Counselling Services of Alberta. Their production, Into the Light, was created to teach, especially Indigenous people, about the dangers and warning signs of human trafficking. After visiting 50 communities, it became clear that human trafficking hits the Indigenous community especially hard, and more education was needed to fight it. Marlene Orr is the CEO of Native Counselling Services of Alberta.
And then when we look at the data that's out there of survivors of human trafficking, the majority, over 50% of the people that are trafficked, are Indigenous women and girls. despite making up, 5% of the population? And so we very quickly realized that we had to do some education in our communities.
Financed by the Provincial Public Safety Department, Into the Light shows that now even preteen girls are being targeted by predators at powwows, group homes, and online.
There was a time when the target for people being trafficked were, 18 to 24, 18 to 30. And what we're seeing and hearing about is that we're talking about children as young as 12 years old being targeted by traffickers, being groomed by traffickers, and that there's a huge online presence of traffickers.
And it's not the image of a woman being abducted and thrown into a van. It's manipulating them with loving words and gifts. And it works on young, vulnerable girls.
The insidious nature of it is they love bomb. These folks think that this person is in love with them. They're going to take care of them. They buy them gifts. They treat them well. They say the right things. And then when they have manipulated them emotionally and mentally, now there's a price to pay for all of that.
The price is being forced to work the streets. Or says it's important to know what your children are doing and to educate yourself on the signs of grooming and trafficking.
Young people are unattended on social media almost 24/7. And we all think we're monitoring what our kids know, but I knew when my son was 8, he knew how to use the parental controls on the TV better than I did. We need to know what they're seeing. We need to know what they have access to.
We don't necessarily know what our kids are up to online. I think that's really important for parents to really familiarize themselves with the signs of someone being trafficked, and to really work on that relationship with their child, so that they can be aware of who's talking to them about what.
The video is available on Bear Paw Media and Education's YouTube page. Chris Stewart, APTN National News, Edmonton.
No matter where you scroll, ribbon skirts and Indigenous designers have been popping up across social media, and one fabric store in Winnipeg has been growing in popularity for designers. Recently, Marshall Fabrics has been offering a large variety of Indigenous design fabrics. Our Julia Ross spoke with designers in the community.
This is where it all started. Coming here, it just amazes me when I first walked in through these doors. I'm like, wow, I never seen so much fabric in my life, and it's just like there's just so many ideas, and I'm very welcomed here.
With a demand for Indigenous pattern fabrics growing, a store in Winnipeg has emerged as the place to be for ribbon skirt designers. Marshall Fabrics has a large variety of designs for the community. Erin Kemble manages the store. She says their collection has been a win-win for everyone.
I think they've been good for both us and the designers, and for us it's just a way for us to showcase and celebrate our customers.
Tyler Moody is one of the many artists to begin their fashion designing journey at Marshall's.
People recognize me. It's like, oh, that's that native guy that makes ribbon skirts. So I was like, okay, well, I guess that's who I am known as now. So within that, I'm just like, really proud to hear that.
Moody is from Nelson House Cree Nation in northern Manitoba. He says that he is proud of the community he comes from and wants to inspire youth.
As a man, for myself, it's really rare to find someone doing this work. So for me to be breaking those barriers to show not only myself as a man, but for those younger male and youth who also want to do the same thing.
Olga Roskoff is also a designer. She began working at Marshall's 27 years ago. She's been sewing for 45. 2 years ago, her sister suggested getting into the ribbon skirt business.
My sister Danielle, who lives up in DePaul, suggested that we get into this, and of course I've tried many times doing craft tables and stuff like that, but they never worked out, and I thought, well, this is not going to work out. I was very negative about it, but we said, well, let's try. So we did, And now it's accelerated to the point that I must have made over 500 skirts in the last over 2 years.
Now, her and her sister run their 2 businesses, Clanware and OG Creations.
My 2 younger sisters, they do the ribbon work. They iron the ribbons all on, and then I put them together. So I have massive piles of skirts ready to be sewn.
Olga says she buys all of her materials here and is part of a thriving community.
I've met a lot of beautiful people working in this industry.
Moody taught himself to sew over the past 8 months. He's been very successful with his designing. So much so that he is now teaching young people how to design and sew their own ribbon skirts and dress shirts with ribbons.
So many well-gifted and talented youth that want to be heard and seen. So within that, I continue to spread that awareness for them, and just to know that they do really matter, because there's days on days where they just don't know if they matter.
He says that when he designs, he feels connected to home.
Within my creations, what I do is that it has so much meaning behind it, because my grandparents are with me every time I create something. I feel that there's always something with me.
Moody believes that people should continue to teach the youth designing and traditions.
For the men who want to sew, I feel that you need to carry this tradition on, because this is who we are and this is where we come from, is that we were only taught hand sewing back in the days.
Indigenous-inspired fabric designs have inspired more artists and more youth to upgrading their sewing skills. Julia Ross, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
We now want to tell you about this week's web poll question. Over on our website, we ask, should artificial intelligence be used as part of Indigenous language revitalization? Your answers are yes, no, or unsure. Go to our website at aptnnews.ca/poll to cast your ballot. Filmmaker Eva Thomas from Walpole Island First Nation is making her big debut at this year's Toronto International Film Festival. That story when we come back. Hi for staying with us. St. John 7, Charlottetown 17 and sunny there. Happy Valley Goose Bay 20, Cartwright 13. Montreal 28 and sunny, Quebec City 24. Ottawa 26, London 25. Thunder Bay 17, Wawa 18. Puckatawagan 16, Thompson 17. 22 in Winnipeg, Dauphin 17. Yorkton 18, Regina 23 and sunny. Partly cloudy in Buffalo Narrows at 13, Meadow Lake 14. Showers and high level at 17, sunny in Fort McMurray at 25. 30 in Medicine Hat, Red Deer 28. Kamloops 22, Bella Coola 10. Prince Rupert 16, Sandspit 13. Whitehorse 14 and showers there, Watson Lake 10. Fort Simpson 12, Trout Lake Smoky and 10. Sax Harbor 6, Colville Lake 19 and sunny. Sunny in Whale Cove at 10, Chesterfield 13. And Arctic Bay 8, Iqaluit 5 and rain. Screenwriter Eva Thomas from the Walpole Island First Nation will see her directorial debut premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival next month. The film is called Nika and Madison, and it's based on Thomas's acclaimed short film, Red Lights. The film explores themes of system misogyny, police violence, and justice through the eyes of 2 young women. We recently spoke to Eva Thomas. Here's that interview. Eva Thomas, thanks so much for taking some time for us, and congrats on the new film. Can you tell us a bit about Nika and Madison?
Yes, Nika and Madison is a feature film which will premiere at TIFF in September. It will have its world premiere, and it's about 2 Indigenous women who get in trouble with the law and then they have to go on the run.
Ooh, a little bit of a preview there. Don't want to give too much away. Was it a challenge for you to take your short film and turn it into a feature length and get it released?
Yes, I mean, it was a challenge, and making a movie is a challenge no matter what the circumstances are. But I think making the short film certainly helped the journey. It showed that I could direct. It showed that I could tell a story. The short film played at over 30 film festivals around the world. So I think that it gave me a bit of a track record that I could build my reputation on. And then they're like, yeah, let's give her a chance. Let's let her direct her feature. So I'm really excited and thrilled.
Sounds like a lot of fun. And Eva, it's a star-studded cast with legends like Billy Morasti, Gail Maurice, and Jennifer Podemski, and some rising stars as well. Can you tell us more about this cast?
Absolutely. Well, Billy, Gail, and Jennifer all were part of Aberdeen, which was another feature that I co-wrote and co-directed, which also premiered at TIFF last year. So such a joy to work with them again. And the leads in the Anika Madison are Ellen Jade, who was one of the actors in Little Bird, and Star Slade, who played on Burden of Truth for many of years. And they're both wonderful, talented actresses, and they're both the leads in the film. And it's nice to see this a young upcoming cast come up along some real legends in the game.
Yeah, definitely. Always good to mix and match. And for you, Eva, how special is it to have the film having its world premiere at the Toronto International Film Festival?
It's so special. For one, Red Lights premiered at TIFF in 2023. I was also part of the TIFF Filmmakers Lab with this project. So to have that support of TIFF, both as a filmmaker and as one of the talents in their labs, to have this film premiere at TIFF really means the world. It's very special.
That's great. And there are a record number of Indigenous films premiering this year at TIFF, as you said. As an Indigenous woman who has been working in the industry for years now, where do you think we're at when it comes to representation on the big and small screen?
I think we're just getting started. I think we are only a few years into us having real agency over our stories and just starting to tell our stories. You know, Jessie Wente, who was the lead of the Indigenous Screen Office, said a handful of years ago, once we start telling our stories, we're going to win all the awards. And I really took inspiration from that. And it's really nice to see a lot of my colleagues have their films. And I'm going to try to see as many as I can during TIFF. It's a really exciting time to be an Indigenous creative.
Yeah, definitely indeed. Eva, we're so happy for you and we're wishing you all the best in Toronto, and hopefully you pick out a good outfit as well. And big thanks from us and congratulations on the new film.
Pimicikamak, thank you so much.
And that's your daytime newscast for this Tuesday. Dennis Ward is back for your evening newscast in a few hours. Please join us then. From all of us at APTN National News, hi miigwech masi cho kwana. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next day.